Well, good morning, YouTube. All right, guys, today we're over at the shop. Got a couple of projects to work on. This tractor here behind me belongs to Joe. It's the first time I've ever operated. It is a Ford 4600. So this is actually very similar to my 4500 industrial tractor, but very different at the same time. It's the same basic platform of tractor. Like the rear end is the same, but the transmission's different. I think it's a little bit longer. The hood's basically the same, the dash, all that stuff. So if you saw in my spraying video earlier this week, the growth around here has just gotten really out of hand. This is the tractor that Joe uses to do bush hogging with, or at least last year, Phil, who's the gentleman who rents this other building here next to me, he actually did a lot of the bush hogging around here with Joe's tractor. And anyway, a lot of it needs to be done again, but Joe said, look, before we do any more work with that tractor, we really need to service it. It hasn't been serviced in a long time. As you can hear, it runs great, but yeah, who knows how old the oil is in it. I've never serviced this tractor before. I've never operated it before. I knew it existed, but have never really messed with it. So we're gonna go ahead and change the oil and the air filter and all that good stuff, and just make sure that it's ready to use, and just go over everything else and kind of give it a good checking. But we've got one other project we got to work on today too. I've got this Goldwing in the shop here also that needs a full service. So this motorcycle belongs to my friend Gene. He owns Gene's Tractor Parts up in Hayesville, North Carolina. He sells all kinds of tractor parts and mower repairs and stuff like that. And he's fully capable of changing his own oil, but this is a new bike to him. He just purchased it recently and got a pretty darn good deal on it. And he just wants me to go through to make sure that everything's on the up and up, check the tires, all that other good stuff, just so that he feels comfortable riding it into the fall season. And then, of course, it's probably going to get stored for the winter. But yeah, just wants a good going over. So we're going to take a look at that today, too. So I drove the Ford around the property 2 or 3 times just to get the engine all warmed up. So we're going to go ahead and pull the drain plug and drain the oil first. And while it's draining, we'll go through and start looking at everything else. Well, that's a terrible design. And we're gonna make a mess. So this tractor is outfitted with this roll cage that was like hand built, skid plate, so on and so forth. And you can see that there are pins and mounting points for other attachments, and I'm not sure exactly what all that was used for. But I could clearly see the hole next to the drain bolt, and well, I thought for sure that it would drain out through the drain hole. Well, it came out and just went everywhere. Oh well, got a big mess to clean up now. Well, surprisingly, the air filter isn't in too bad a shape. I mean, it's slightly gray rather than being white, but I don't see a bunch of debris and anything in here. And there's another core inside there as well, and it's like perfectly clean. So I know he has a new air filter for it. I just don't know that I'm going to use one yet. This one's in pretty good shape. So I made a little mess there too. All right, so yeah, I put the air filter back in and topped off the power steering fluid, put a new filter on it. I've also got a new fuel filter here as well. However, I don't see my can of diesel that I had here so that I can have it on hand if I need to prime it. So may just wait on that one just a moment. Well, I nearly got myself in a predicament with that one. So what I started to do was just pull the drain on the filter and let some of it drain into a container so that I had a quantity of fuel that I could refill the filter with for priming purposes. But I didn't expect that much fuel to come out of it. And I think it's because the petcock was just still flowing. So I reached up to turn the petcock off because the tank is higher than the filter on this. And it didn't seem to be shutting off. So I was like, well, no big deal. I'll just grab a bigger pan, and while it's running, I can change out the filter. Well, it turns out some of the O-rings in the new kit weren't the same O-rings, got a little bit confused. Anyway, I fought like heck to get it to go back together with fuel running all over the place. I put this drain pan here to catch most of it, but as it started filling and I couldn't get it to seal because I put the wrong gasket at the top. This one here is just a slight diameter smaller than the one it needed, and it wouldn't fit up into the groove properly. So even as I was tightening it down, fuel was still running through the outside of the fuel filter. So then I had to scramble thinking I was going to overflow this one. I went and found a bucket so that I could have some buffer, but then I got it before the bucket. But anyway, what a pain in the butt, but I got it done. And luckily, I cleaned both of these containers so that I can just pour this fuel right back into the tractor. So there's no loss there. It's just, it was messy and I lost a little bit, but not much. All right, so now we are pouring oil into it, and I couldn't in good faith show you the oil that I'm using because, well, it's not AMSOIL, but it's just because this is stuff that Joe had laying around already, and he wants to use up what he's got. So I respect that. Don't like it, but I respect it. Okay, so as you can see, the battery terminals were pretty corroded as well. So I took them off, cleaned them all up, put them back on, and I'm probably gonna throw like a little bit of grease or something on here just to kind of seal them out a little bit. After changing the fuel filter, I did have a little bit of trouble getting the start again because I made a mistake in my priming. I didn't bleed the filter housing properly, and then I put air into the system. So it fired right up, but then it ran out of fuel and then didn't want to restart. It took me a while to get it to restart, but I got it. I checked the coolant level also. It was all good. And I had an issue with a fuel return line off of the injectors. It goes back to the fuel tank filler neck. And I guess just in the process of working on it, I had bumped it and pulled where like a hard plastic pipe goes into like a rubber fitting on the side of the filler neck. And then so when the engine was running, that overflow was a real low pressure overflow from the fuel injectors, kind of runs out that way, and it was just running down the fuel tank. So I fixed that, but in the process of fixing that, I broke another part of the hose that feeds to that. So I had to fix that. And then I had it routed wrong. And when I went to go put the battery in, I severed the hose that I just fixed. So then it was pumping fuel everywhere again. Anyway, ran a whole new line, routed it a whole different way. All that seems to be good. I did find a wire under the hood that's not hooked to anything. It looks like it originally went to a battery, but I don't know whether it's a ground or a positive. I just don't know what it went to, but it wasn't connected. I still need to grease the chassis, but my grease gun isn't here, so I'll probably just drive it up to Goliath and grease everything up there. And then I think it's pretty much ready to go. I checked the transmission fluid, coolant, it was a topped off power steering fluid, oil, filter, fuel filter, air filter we reused because it was in good shape. Yeah, air pressure's good. Yeah, there's not a whole lot more to check on, but yeah, we're almost done with this project. All right, so I just drove the tractor up here to Goliath and greased a couple of fittings on it that were greasable. Weren't a whole lot. Everything else looks pretty good. I think this tractor is definitely ready to use for whatever we need to use it for. Well, guys, I think that's gonna wrap it up on this tractor video. Wouldn't you know it, I noticed 2 grease Zerk fittings that I missed after I got back here to the shop. So anyway, I'll take care of that a little bit later. All in all, tractor's ready to run and roll though. I still have to go work on this Goldwing, but I think I'm gonna take a lunch break and go home first. So we're gonna end this video here. So thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Until the next time we see ya, keep those engines running.